Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Kenya Revolutionary for my quick take of what's going on in Kenya. What a day. You know, I woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and for some reason, I just felt like, I got some notification from my news, from my on my phone, and I looked at the notification, and so breaking news: Raila Odinga has passed on. He's dead. I actually couldn't believe it. I was like, oh man, because even leading up to today, there were a lot of people who were posting, fake, they were just posting like Raila is dead, or whatever the case is, just fake news. And I thought maybe, okay, this must be fake news, okay? And then I went on Twitter, X, and I was scrolling down to see what's going on, because that's when you kind of see a lot of people, different people posting about the current events. And I saw somebody post what's happening in Nairobi CBD already. There were people protesting, not protesting, but, mourning Raila's death, as we would expect, They were poured in the streets, people from Kibera, people from, Raila supporters, basically. I was like, is somebody using old footage of Mandamano to make it seems like, Raila supporters are actually out in the streets mourning the death of Raila Odinga? I couldn't believe it. Even now, as I'm speaking about it, I still don't believe. I mean, I'm not saying I don't believe. I mean, to me, it hasn't registered yet. This is unbelievable. Um, Raila is one of those figures in Kenya that seemed like, he's been there forever, and it seemed like somebody who will never check out, okay? But apparently his time has come, and he has passed on. Now, personally, I believe if he was dead, if he died, he actually didn't die today. It's just being announced today because there were people who were posting about his death a few days prior. Like 3 days ago, 4 days ago, there were people who were saying, hey, Raila is dead. And, what will Kasirika? And if you look at the kind of reaction by the ODM folks, the people who are close to him, the party members, the Caswells, the Sifunas. Mama Ida came out and said Raila is good. If he was doing that bad, he would be back here at home with me, besides me, or whatever the case is. So their response to this rumor that he was dead was what was telling, because you could see that they kind of had this almost like they were reading from the same script, telling us Raila is strong, Raila will be back with a message for Kenyans and all that stuff. And I was a little bit skeptical about that, because when every time you hear people, there's a rumor about a politician who is sick and is in abroad, and you hear his closest confidant or his closest friends taking on Twitter and saying he's strong, he'll come back stronger than ever, I start questioning what's going on. But regardless, personally, I'm not a fan of Raila, personally. But I can't ignore his impact on Kenyan politics, okay? I can't sit here and say that I feel happy or celebrate his, the demise, or his, him departing the earth. And at the same time, I can't say that I'm sad. I'm actually confused, if you know what I mean. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel sad or happy, or I'm at shock, basically. I've spoken of how much Raila has betrayed the cause, the struggle. But today, this is not going to be a video about how Raila, you know, betrayed the struggle of the Kenyan people. That's not the video. This is not the video for it today. No, that's not for it. I think I just want to zero in on the implications of Raila's death. I always tell people it's silly to celebrate your enemy's death, because at the end of the day, we are all going to check out. We are going to check out. It is appointed. So it is appointment. It is appointed that, uh, you will live, and there's one day you will die, and after that there will be judgment, or whatever the case is. So for me to sit here and say I'm happy or whatever the case is, just because politically I did not like Raila Odinga, that'd be silly. And to celebrate somebody's death is actually silly. Okay, so that's not what I'll do. I don't feel it. I don't feel it in me to express, any kind of jubilation or happiness or sadness, because I did not know Raila personally. I've never met him. I don't know his relatives, his kids, his wife, his brother, whatever the case. I've never met them. I don't know them. So I can't sit here and pretend that, oh, I'm so sad Raila is dead, or whatever the case is. I will not do that. Sorry. And at the same time, just because I do not like what he did, how he betrayed the struggle, I can't sit here and say, oh, yeah, hey, Raila Mekufa, yeah. No, because it's silly. Like I said, everyone has a checkout date. Even I, you who's watching, and everybody else. We are going to face the same thing. That's just how it is designed, okay? So laughing at somebody because he's dead, that's stupid, okay? But I mean, to each, I can tell you how to mourn or how to feel. If you feel you want to throw a party because Raila is dead, go ahead. That's your prerogative. If you feel like, you feel sad because he's a Baba figure to you, it's okay. Express that by all means. To me, I try to be more considerate, okay? Because there are people who losing life is not, there's nothing funny about somebody losing life, regardless of whether it's my enemy or not. I know some people are posting that, oh, what about the kids that, the Gen Zs that died on the streets, that Raila betrayed? Okay, we should be mourning them. I understand that. I understand all that. Okay, I feel sorry for them. At the same time, I can't get myself to be, be like, oh yeah, Raila deserves that, because everyone dies. Everyone will die. Okay, and yes, we do say that we'll hang people who steal from the public resources. I advocate for that, but it has to be done in a fair, judicious way. Okay, not just this is a natural death. I don't know if it was a natural death or whatever the case. Actually, let me just before I get to the implications of Raila's death, there's a very troubling rumors that swirling around. People are saying, I mean, Aoko, I don't know, and others are saying, kind of trying to say that Ruto might have had something to do with Raila's death. That is, Mara Oscar Sudi alimwekea unga kwa drink, Mara sijui. There's a bunch of stuff going on, okay? And what I would like to say about that is that that's a very, very dangerous take. I will not play with those kind of rumors, because right now, the tensions are very high in Kenya, okay? Tensions are very high. People are on the edge, okay? Whether you like it or not, Raila was loved by a bunch of people, a lot of people. Whether you say they are misguided or not, they do feel Baba was Baba, whatever the case is. He's not my dad, so I won't call him Baba. He's Raila Odinga. But so for those of you who are speculating and continue participating in this rumor that Ruto might have something to do with it, with his death or whatever the case, I'm not going that route because I don't have information. Maybe if more information come out, I will touch on that. But as of right now, I don't know. I have no information. But so anyway, much condolences to his family, his children, his brother, everybody else. There's nothing fun about losing a loved one. So to that extent, from human to human, I hope they stay strong and just hold up well. Okay. Now, with that said, let's get to the political stuff, because this is a political channel. I talk about Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. So if you like that kind of action or content, go ahead, like the video, subscribe, share, comment, and do all the good stuff. So let's get to the good stuff. What does Raila Odinga's death mean to Kenya? What does it mean to the Kenyan politics? For those of you who are happy, who are saying, hey, Ruto might be happy because of Raila's death, I don't think the death of Raila Odinga does Ruto any favor. It does not. Let's remember, like Raila or not, conman or not, broker or not, he kind of kept things together. Okay? He kind of kept things together. Yes, there were atrocities. Yes, there are people who died who never got compensated. Yes, he led a lot of youth, especially from Nyanza province, Luo Nyanza, who went out there in support, supporting him, his supporters, Azimio, whether it's ODM, Azimio, call it whatever you want to call it. They went out there to protest, for electoral justice or whatever the case is, stolen, name it. People lost lives. But to be fair to Raila Odinga, he kind of kept things together. Okay? Now, 2007, 2008 post-election violence, I don't think he had any kind of control in that. Hiyo ilikuwa imeenda. Everybody was in the streets, not even in the streets, everyone was hacking each other down. We were going the Rwanda way, okay? Genocidal way, okay? The tribal violence. Raila did not, I don't think he was instrumental as far as stopping it. It was more of international intervention to stop what was about to go down in Kenya. We were descending to a civil war. The society was breaking down. We were going to chop each other off and everyone was going to kill each other, okay? I mean, thank God, Condoleezza Rice, Kofi Annan, and the others came in and, it kind of halted things, called on the warlords there, Uhuru Kenyatta, Kibaki, Raila, whoever was involved. They sat down and they worked out something which, ended up to become government of national unity. 2013, Raila promised that if he was to lose fair and square, he would not go to the streets, which, coming off from the 2008 stuff and ICC lingering in everyone's heads, he went to court, and after he lost, due to a technicality, he decided not to ask his supporters to go to the streets. 2017, Kenyan fatigue was too much, fever pitch. Everybody wanted to see that Raila is installed as the president of Kenya, okay? When Uhuru Kenyatta stole the elections, the Azimio folks went to the streets, okay? And even they decided to do what? To swear in Raila Odinga as the people's president, okay? Now, there was chaos, okay? There were people who were shot dead. There were people who were brutalized in Manyata, Kondele. We remember, we know this, okay? It's documented, okay? But again, Raila was pivotal in all this, okay? Of course, he got rid of people who he deemed as troublemakers, the Migunas, okay? And then he betrayed the struggle again and went and shook hands with Uhuru Kenyatta, who was the rejected one, okay? And then akatuliza majority of his supporters, okay? So there was we had kind of some peace, kind of, okay? But what I must emphasize in all these scenarios is that while there was peace, it wasn't, how can I call it? It was still a volatile environment. Kenya has always, in the last 20 years, Kenya is a very volatile, politically charged environment. At any moment, something can spark, mandamano that can lead to the president being removed. Why? Because the person who is in power especially since 2004, 2007, sorry. Okay, Kibaki's second term, Uhuru's first term, Uhuru's second term, now with Ruto, these people are walking on thin ice. The presidency, the president of the day, even Ruto right now is walking on thin ice. You know, just because we have peace does not mean it's peaceful. I know you're not seeing people chopping each other's heads off on the streets of Nairobi, but that does not mean that it's actually peaceful. People are on the edge. So fast forward 2022, okay? And Ruto won. I feel like Ruto won fair and square because everybody got tired of Raila's Chezwa Town, okay? But Raila, manipulated the situation by going out there and saying he wants something akin to the Kofi Annan arrangement. And they came up with this BBI, broad-based, or as some people call it, blood-based government, which was very unpopular. And a lot of people now are incensed by Raila's decision, ODM, entering into a political pact with William Samoei Ruto. That was absolutely unforgivable for majority of Raila's faithful. They felt this is blasphemy, okay? But anyway, it happened. So majority of Kenyans, even in Nyanza, Luo Nyanza, not just Nyanza, Luo Nyanza, were not happy with this broad-based government, this pact that ODM entered with the UDA and Ruto, okay? So, even though we had relative peace, okay, let me take you to the next major event there. The Gen Z movement in Kenya, June 25th, 2024, when the Gen Z almost took out Ruto, if it wasn't for Raila Odinga. Actually, let me take that back. The people who actually diverted or pacified or misled the Gen Zs are the Hanefas and Boniface Mwangi, who are telling the young folks to go back home and not go to State House, which gave both time for the regime to regroup its security and military forces to go fortify the State House and other places in order to stop this movement from succeeding, from a total overhaul of this government. Ruto was already anaenda kuondolewa, but the Boniface Mwangi were the first people, the frontliners representing this government, Ruto's government, wakijifanya ati hao ndio maninio, wanajifanya hao ndio activists, political activists. Vile watu walikuwa nasema tuendeni State House. We've already occupied parliament. Tuendeni State House tutoe Ruto officially. Boniface Mwangi and others started telling the youth, rudini nyumbani. So later on, after Boniface Mwangi and Hanefa were exposed, and wakina Cairo, I don't know what their name is, they did not attend another maandamano, at least for Boniface Mwangi. Okay? They did not attend another maandamano from that. And when Ruto had that little time to breathe, when Gen Z gave him that little time to breathe, Raila quickly came back. Akaleta magunzi wake na ODM to help pacify this next protest, which was Occupy State House. Naelewa? And not only did Raila come in and save Ruto, he came and joined the government in this pact by ODM and UDA. Naelewa? So after that, Raila was comfortably in government, doing what he does. Being in government without officially being in government. Unaelewa? ile mtu ako kwa government, he's enjoying all the the perks of being a top governmental official without actually having a formal office as a government official. So akaingia huko, fortified. He even helped Sakaja survive from the impeachment and so and other things. Okay. So for those of you who are saying that, Ruto might be behind Raila's death, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's a possibility. I have no evidence, but I doubt it. But you never know. Okay. I don't think Ruto will be interested in seeing Raila Odinga gone, because this is the guy who was putting it together. Because listen, the Gen Zs were out to take him out. They were ready to take Ruto. They were taking Walishamtoa. Because remember, even when the military were ordered to go to the streets, the military were in with the Gen Zs. Forget about that BBC Blood Parliament. Blood Parliament was actually highlighting a few rogue military officials who are handpicked by Ruto to shoot down the protesters. This was not the majority members of the military. Majority members of the military were actually with Kenyans. It was like Madagascar. They were joining with Kenyans. They were shaking hands with Kenyans. They were supporting the Gen Zs, okay? But when Ruto had that slim chance of survival, after wakina Boniface wakaambia watu warudi nyumbani, Raila came in with his goons and joined in and told him, hey, listen, I can get you out of this, this jam, okay? Let me bring my boys, my goons, my supporters, and all that. Let's have a pack, okay, so that you can survive. And that's exactly what happened. Now, this decision by Raila Odinga was greatly unpopular. Even in Nyanza province, Luo Nyanza, they were not happy with it. Because listen, the reality is reality. If the economy is tanking, haitasikikwa to Mount Kenya or Ukambani or Coastal Province, it also hits Nyanza province. You guys got into the broad-based government, but there was no development happening in Nyanza province. So even the Luos who were deemed to have joined the government by the virtue of Raila Odinga shaking hands with Ruto, still were dissatisfied with the conditions, economic conditions. Forget what Omosh Jakababa spews up. He's a stand-up comedian. Okay, he entertains. He's funny. I'll give him that. But the reality is, even in Nyanza province, the economic situation was still dire. Now, let's get to it. Now that the person who has been putting it together, okay, where we have this cosmetic synthesis of different factions of power that has averted a full-blown civil war in Kenya, okay? The protagonist, the main character, the most influential, the last of the dying breed, the last Mohigan, okay? Raila Odinga mwenyewe is out of the picture. Not because he has stepped out and retired. He's actually gone. He will no longer speak. He will no longer have a handshake. He will no longer make that phone call. He will no longer order Wakina Gaucho to go and do X, Y, and Z. He can no longer call Maina Njenga to rally his Mungiki to, because this guy had influence. I told you about his speech that he was giving, how he moved to Kibera and how him and Fred Gumo basically cultivated a strong voting bloc in Nairobi, which helped them win political position. You cannot overlook the influence Raila had in Kenya. I mean, just see the protests that are happening in Kenya right now, people who are mourning. Go look in Kisii, in Coast, of course, in Nyanza. whatever the case is. It's world, I mean, it's countrywide. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. This guy had really huge influence in Kenya. So he used his influence, of course, to his advantage. Unfortunately, that's the unfortunate part. For his selfish means. That's the unfortunate part. I will tell you that without batting an eyelid. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You know, he used his influence for his own good. If Sakaja gives him 200 million a month, Sakaja can stay as long as he wants as the governor of Nairobi. Okay? If Uhuru wanted to finish his 10-term, he had to cut that check in order to finish his 10-year tenure, even though he wasn't elected. If Ruto wanted to govern and finish his his first term as the Kenyan president, he had to cut that check to Raila Odinga in order to do so. Okay? So he was basically extorting everyone. But the fact is, now that he is gone, what will hold Kenya together in the event, let's say, Gen Z wakisema, tunarudi kwa streets, tunaenda kutoa Ruto, and there's no ifs or buts about it. We are going to take out Ruto. Because this is a reality. I mean, I was looking at Siaya, even the people, the so-called Raila supporters who are at Mama Ida's residence, Raila's residence in Karen, they were screaming Ruto must go. In Siaya, in Bondo, in Opoda, well, when they went to Mono over there in that they were screaming Ruto must go, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. So, if the Gen Zs decide we are going back to the streets, who will come and stand in the middle of them? Who has the influence? Okay? The connects in the streets, the respect in the streets as Raila Odinga, who can actually basically help Ruto's police forces to scuttle the Gen Z movement from taking him out. Who will? I mean, there are people who have money. There's Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta's money is long. Yeah, he has dollar billions, okay? But what kind of respect does he command in the streets? I'm not talking about within the political corridors of Kenya, political power. I'm talking about in the streets. People who will be like, I'm willing to die for Uhuru Kenyatta. Go up there, akisema ati hawa vijana watulie, I'll go up there and, ninyamazisha hawa vijana hapo Nairobi. Who is going to do that? I don't think Kenyatta has that influence. He has the money. He can buy Maina and Jenga and his Mungiki to do things here and there. But the problem is, majority of the central people in central province want Ruto out. So Ruto, you're screwed. Okay? Ruto is screwed. The only thing he has to do right now, especially, hold on, let me go back. There's a couple of bills that have been passed while we are getting distracted with the news of Raila Odinga's death. One that actually caught my attention is the privatization bill, which now will not require Elisha, I see you, Nyanza is saying Nyanza is free, which will now won't require the parliament to approve if they were to sell a governmental parastatal or a parastatal. Let me just say that. Okay? That is, it may pass. While we are, kwa sababu, if the news, like I told you, Raila hakukufa leo, he didn't pass today. Raila, I think alipass hata maybe last Friday or something. Unaona ile siku, remember that when they walianza kutoa picha, I think Raila died probably on Sunday or Saturday or Friday. Hii news imebreakiwa tu leo saa hizi. And they've done so. Let me take you back. Let me take you back. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Pay attention. Ruto knew that Raila had passed on. Ruto had the news through his intelligence. Alijua Raila alikufa probably last Friday or Saturday, this past weekend, or maybe before that. Okay, Ruto knew this. I'll tell you why. Of course, Ruto, as the head of state, he receives intelligence about these top political leaders, even the opposition now at what he knows. Okay, he has intelligence network. So he probably had the news. He knew that Raila alikufa kitambo. Now, watch. Why did Ruto go to Eldoret donning an army outfit? I know there was like sijui mashujaa KDF day, whatever the case is. I'm not buying that. Listen to me. Alienda kukutana na majeshi. It's coming together for me. It's coming together for me. Ruto understood that the death of Raila Odinga, once the news hits the media, we will have what is going on right now as we speak. Hii unaona hizi protest ambazo zinafanyika saa hizi. It's not protest with people mourning, but the kind of like protest. Watu wako in the streets, okay? Because listen, the morning of Raila Odinga with people in Kibera out here on Alinio, you never know. This might turn into something else. So Ruto understood because he gets field intelligence. Information from the field intelligence officers, NIS and all that stuff, who briefs him of what is happening. So when Ruto knew that Raila Odinga mekufa, alipata news that Raila mekufa huko India, or whatever the case is, he knew that that news inaweza kuleta makelele in Kenya. It is hii chaos ambayo inafanyika saa hizi nini watu wakiprotest wanalia hivi. He knew that. He understood that. Okay? So Ruto alienda Eldoret kwa ile barak ya majeshi huko. What was he going to do up there? Ruto aendangi kwa majeshi visit majeshi. This guy is busy running around going to different countries na hizo maendeleo zake za ujinga. Okay? He went to the barracks. Nilikuwa naambia in my last video, this guy went to make sure that his most trusted lieutenant, in case of anything, wasimgeuke. Unaelewa? To make sure that everything is in set. Because what I'm trying to tell you is this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. I'm your political dietitian. Let me give you the nutrients that you need. What I'm trying to tell you is this. In the event, saizi the atmosphere in Kenya, nobody wants to hear about it. Like I'm telling you, listen, I'm walking you step by step. Skia, look at what is happening in the ground. Unaona watu wako nini pipeline, ndio hiyo watu, the people are mourning nini Ruto. I've seen a couple of tires being burnt. Watu are on the streets. There's kind of a level of some lawlessness, okay? There's looting in CBD Nairobi, okay? In Karen, wale watu walienda Karen, wale wafuasi wa Raila, they're screaming Ruto must go. In Bondo, Siaya, people are screaming Ruto must go. Unaona? And these are lures. Those people who are being said, were said, walikuwa wanasemekana ati wako kwa serikali. Okay? They're screaming Ruto must go. Okay? There's some level of unrest. Haijafika to the point where it's a national security issue, but it is a potential national security issue when people are protesting or people are out there mourning the death of Raila Odinga to a point where looting is happening, there's insecurity, and they're screaming Ruto must go. So Ruto knew this was a possibility, not the Ruto must go part, but the fact that when the news breaks that Raila amededi, watu wafuasi wa Raila watajitokeza kwa wingi on the streets, in the streets, in mourning Raila Odinga, and that can take different forms. Mourning can mean burning tires. Mourning can mean transportation system inasimamishwa, matatu haziendi hazipiti. Morning can mean, you know, looting, which is happening, pickpocket, watu wanapigwa. You know what happens. Okay? So Ruto knew this. That's why the news of Raila Odinga was broken leo after Ruto met the military, because he understands. Listen to me very carefully. Uliona vile Gen Z walienda protest. What happened? Ile siku June 20, was it June 25th? Yeah? Listen to me what happened, okay? When Gen Z went to the streets and overwhelmed the police forces, okay? The army, the military were asked to go to the streets. Now, the military, walifika, and the military were not stopping the Gen Zs from protesting. They actually joined to protect the Gen Zs from the police. Even your estate, your pipeline estate, the police forces, if you remember, go look at the old last year's news clips. The police were actually shooting residents of the pipeline estate, but the military came in and stepped in and stopped the police from doing that. And you can see a bunch of videos, footages of members of the army celebrating. Hata watu walikuwa naimba, tuko na majeshi, and the military were escorting some of the people back home. Unasikia? So Ruto understands if he gives an order what the military waende kwa streets, they will join the maandamano. Na hawataua nini mandugu zao. And that can trigger a situation where the military turns against who? Ruto, because they will say the same thing they did with Robert Mugabe. Remember, when the protest in Harare was happening, all the people flooded the streets of Harare. What did Mugabe do? The police could not stop the people, so Mugabe called the military to go to Harare to stop the unrest. And when the military got there, they packed their magari zao hapo, and they joined the protest. And the head of the military went back and told Mugabe, Robert Mugabe, Mzee, we are sorry, but the people have said you have to step down. And that's how Robert Mugabe left office after I don't know how many years of rule. You understand? So Ruto understand the scenario. Akasema, vile alisikia news Raila Mededi, he went to Eldoret. Why didn't he go to Mombasa, aende kwa barak ile kwa Mombasa, ama aende ile huko Nanyuki, ama army base huko Lamu, or whatever the case is? He chose Eldoret. Why Eldoret? Ask yourself, why Eldoret? Of course, Eldoret is his home. Eldoret ni nyumbani kwa kina Ruto, kwa Ruto. So he had to ambia the majeshi in Eldoret, who majority of them happen to be Kalenjins, Nandis to be precise, if I'm not wrong, and tell them, hey, listen, this is the scenario, okay? Umze has kicked the bucket. Ameishia, and we might have chaos, given the intelligence I'm receiving from NIS and other CIDs and whatever the case is. So what I need you guys to do is understand that there might be a possibility we are going to have a repeat of June 25th, 2024. So in the event that this happens, and if it gets worse to a point where these people want me out, tafadhalini, munitete, protect me. Because now Agwambo cannot protect Ruto. He's gone. You understand what I'm saying? That's why Ruto went to the army in Eldoret. Of all the barracks that he could visit the army, alienda Eldoret, LD, nyumbani kwao. Ndio maana I was telling you, the army officials, the military officials that were being shown to you in that BBC hit piece, ile wakina Hanifa walikuwa nakuwa interviewed hapo kwa hiyo BBC ya ati parliament blood, whatever, blood parliament. Those were members of the military who are handpicked by Ruto who are doing that ninio, the killing of Gen Zs. But it was a piece designed to do what? To discourage Gen Zs. Gen Zs waanze kushikwa na uoga wafikirie, oh, you know what? The army are not with us. Uliona? The army are not with us. Hawa army walikuwa natuua. Because they don't want to embolden you to go to the streets knowing that if anything happens, the army will join you. Because wamejua the army will join you. So this BBC piece was supposed to be a fear-mongering campaign. Itishe majenzi wasiende nje, wasiende maandamano kwa sababu ati majeshi itawaua. Gypsy Corner, nice seeing you. I hope you're doing well. Wake a like up. Like the video, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my YouTube channel real quick. If you're watching on X, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. And if you're not following me on X, go ahead and follow me too. Follow me too. Okay? So you understand? That BBC hit piece, the main agenda of that BBC blood parliament was designed to fear monger, to scare the Gen Zs and think that, hey, listen, if you go to the streets, mkifikiria ati nyinyi mnaweza ati polisi peke yake is the people you should be worried about. If you overwhelm them, the army shall be deployed and they shall shoot you. That's why. And if you can see the reaction in the comment section. People are like, oh, the army are shooting us. The army are not shooting you. The officers that were shooting you from the army were handpicked by Ruto. That's why they were at the State House and parliamentary building after Wakishani Nio. Thank you so much for liking the video. And Okinyo, nice seeing you too. Like the video. Unaelewa? That's the whole point. Okay? Because they understand. And they saw what happened in Madagascar. It always happened like that. Every time a dictator who is not popular with the people, they always make the same mistake. Once their police forces are overwhelmed by the public, what they usually resort to, they try to tell the army to go and intervene in a civilian matter. And the problem is the army are not trained to fight its own people. Unaelewa? So the army wakienda kwa street, wanaona hawa ni mandugu zao. These are the people that we are supposed to protect. Why should we go to war and kill our own people? While the problem is this one person who is sitting in the State House. You see what I'm saying? So it does not make sense. But the Blood Parliament documentary was designed to discourage the Gen Zs from going to the streets in fear of ati watakuwa shot by the army. Naelewa? So anyway, the biggest loser in this death of Raila Odinga is William Samoei Ruto. Because now, there's no camouflaging anything. The blanket has been pulled over. And we can see how the people of Luo Nyanza feel. They are screaming, Ruto must go. And the propagandists are already going with this narrative that Raila ameuliwa na Ruto. They're bringing up Aoko's tweets that Oscar Sudi aliweka unga kwa drink ya nani, ya Raila. Mara unasikia ati Raila alikula chakula huko State House, alipewa chakula na Ruto akakufa. You see what I'm saying? And the unfortunate part, I mean, people will believe it because they do not like Ruto. But the fact is, majority of Kenyans are not happy with Ruto. So hata akienda elections, I'm telling you, listen, me personally, it's interesting, but it is also scary to some extent. Kwa sababu sasa, picture this. I even doubt if tutafika 2027 without Ruto being removed. Because fikiria, let's assume tumefika 2027. Election imefanywa. Ruto rigs himself as he usually does. And everybody knows Ruto has rigged the election. who will intervene and come and have a handshake with Ruto? See, Raila's respect was because he was the last of a dying breed. Alikuwa mzee ameheshimiwa, not because of what he stands for. Okay? Let's not confuse this. I know some people say, oh, he fought for multi-party democracy and all this stuff. No. That's not why Raila is respected. I'll tell you why Raila is respected. Okay? Because yes, he did all those things, but later he was obviously not against the people at the latter end of his life. Okay? But what I'm trying to say is this. This is why Raila was respected. The number one reason why Raila is respected. Raila comes from that era of the politicians who are perceived to have been fighting Moi. You understand? Martin Shikuku, Matiba, nakumbuka kina Matiba, kijana wa Malwa, Orengo, of course, who is a survivor now. Unaelewa? That's hiyo rende. That's Neo. That generation. He was the last one. He was the last one. So when he speaks, his words had weight, even though alikuwa na to bullshit for the most part. When we didn't like what he said, we knew it was bullshitting, but we just gave him the respect by the fact that, he has been here for a minute. He was there in 1982. I wasn't here in 1992 during hizo elections na multi-party fight for multi-party democracy, whatever the case is. Okay? He has that respect because he comes from that era. He's the last one from that era. Okay? Ile era ya kina Matiba. Ile era ya kina kijana wa Malwa. Ile era ya kina Martin Shikuku. Okay? That is why he had that respect. Because our kina Ruto, he's older than them. He was older than Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta, people always look at him as a spoiled kid, brat, who rigged himself through to become the president of Kenya because he comes from a family that has money and influence. Okay? But people never really respected him as such. That's why he's not respected in the streets like that. Ruto is not respected in the streets because people look at him as somebody who, alikuja jana, he's just aggressive na, ananyakua, whatever the case is. You see what I'm saying? But he doesn't have that respect. So Raila, being older than them, older than Musalia, older than Wetangula, older than Boni Kalwale, you see what I'm saying? Older than Kalonzo. That's why unaona Kalonzo anasemanga my big brother, my big brother, my whatever. Unasikia? He was the older one. He was the last one from that era. That's why he had respect. When he spoke, walikuwa namsikia. That's why he had influence, even in Western Province, because of his close ties with Wakina Gumo. In fact, Raila, if you look at his lineage, inasemekana he's actually a lawyer, technically speaking. His mother, I think, was a lawyer. Okay? So that's why he has the respect. And also, Raila also and Raila also, he developed this network, political network, nationwide in Kenya. See, Raila didn't operate like our akina Ruto and Neo. Our akina Ruto, ni watu ambao they were just famous in their own backyard. Then they try to, wanaleta coalition na hizi other parts of the country. You understand what I'm saying? Wanaenda wanashikana na sijui Musalia hapo, wapatie some votes hapo Western, wanaenda huko sijui Ukambani, wanajaribu kuweka Kalonzo hapo. You see what, but ukiangalia Raila had his networks since the late 80s, 1990s. Unaona, alikuwa na connect na watu. That's why even if you listen to his speech when he was going to kwa ile bibi ya Dedan Kimathi, he started giving speeches of how he was helping the Dedan Kimathi's family. He understood that the power of not connection, what's the word? Networking. And build this network kitambo in the early 90s. That's why unaona hata watu wa Mlima huko ndani ndani, they might not agree with him wazi, but they respect him because they know this guy knew how to move. You understand? That's why it was so hard to deal with him, because akona influence, and his influence was deep in every part of Kenya. He knew how he had to network with people from every corner of the country. You understand? That's what made him different from the politicians that we are left with. Our politicians who may now, they're not hard to deal with. Ruto, I don't know if you're going to survive till December. I don't. I'm worried about you, Ruto. Not really, but I'm worried about you. I don't know. Maandamano ikianza leo, in fact, Gachagua akianza kuleta maandamano hapa, I don't know if you're going to survive, Ruto. Because listen, now let me get to the part, the meaty part of this discussion. What is left of ODM? Because ODM, we are going to see if ODM will stand. Because Raila was ODM and ODM was Raila Odinga. What is left with now? There are people who are talking about, oh, Babu Owino is the next king. Babu Owino is not going to fill Raila's shoes. He cannot. He's not qualified. I'll repeat again. I know. You like Babu Owino. Babu Owino. I will tell you right here, right now. Babu Owino cannot fill Raila Odinga's shoes. I'm sorry, Babu. You are not it. You don't have it. You don't have the resume. Your CV is not decorated enough. Yes, Raila was conmanish, but he already earned his stripes through decades of being in the field. Ulikuja juzi hapa unapiga watu bunduki. I see Amenya is exposing you, anaweka picha za ukiwa snorting unga na unachapa watu mambata vile ulikuwa university. I mean, you're not going to get to Raila's level, my friend. I know. People are talking about Babu Owino. No, Babu Owino cannot. And Babu Owino have... I not that I like you or hate you. I don't hate you. I don't know you personally to hate you. But I'm just telling you this. You're not going to be the governor of Nairobi. You're not going to win. Hiyo nimesema saizi. Hauendi kuwa governor. I know you might see, oh, this is an advantage now. Sakaja is going to lose. Now it's an opportunity for you. You're not going to be the governor of Nairobi. Luo Nyanza politics is about to get interesting, especially after the pending disintegration of the ODM party. I wonder if this broad base will still stand. Mbadi, Mbadi, are you still going to be the treasury, or Ruto will put Kipngetich? Let me tell you something. Let me say something that I think. I won't be surprised if Ruto reaches back to Mount Kenya people. Mnanisikia? Huh? I won't be surprised if Ruto washikane na Mount Kenya. And this is how they're going to do it. Kenyatta, Uhuru is going to play a pivotal role in 2027. But that's a conversation that I'll have with you guys later. This is not the time. Let's stick to Raila Odinga right now. Okay? Mnasikia? It will be interesting to watch ODM navigate through this political landscape with Raila absent. Who will stick around? Wale watu ambao walikuwa wanapewa ninio, wanapewa nomination because Raila amepewa kitu. Eh? Don't care. Anasema this is a game changer. Absolutely, this is a game changer. No shit. This is a game changer. Game changer it is. Politics in Kenya is about to get really, really interesting. Very interesting. Especially in Luo Nyanza. And Kenya as a whole. But I think it will start in Luo Nyanza. Wale watu wamezoea kusema baba. Now Baba is not there. Your money... Kasipul, can we start with Kasipul? When is Kasipul election? By election, is it 27? This is a week from now, right? If you received nomination from Raila Odinga, ati amesema akasema huyu ndio kijana simame hapa, we are going to, because I've had numerous stories, lots of stories where we hear, especially even in Siaya, where the people want somebody, but Raila anakuja kwa sababu ameshapewa kitu, anachoose mtu mwingine, anapatia nomination mtu mwingine, na huyo mtu ndiye anarigiwa. Now that Raila is gone, how will that play out? For my understanding, I don't think Luo Nyanza will have... Listen, let me say this one very quickly. History ya mambo ya Kingpin, this is the beginning of the end of this story ya Kingpin politics ya Kenya. Because nobody will... Listen, no one will have that kind of resume or what's the word? Longevity. Yeah, Raila in politics in order to earn that kingpin status. Let me give you an example. Unaona Gachagua, hold on, listen. Let me toka kwa jua kidogo. You see Gachagua anataka hiyo, he wants to grab that kingpin status in Central Province, right? Nanielewa? He wants that status ya kingpin. But Gachagua cannot naturally have it because whether you like it or not, Uhuru Kenyatta still, the Kenyatta family still have the last say of where Mlima inaenda. Nasikia kitu nasema? I'll repeat again. Gachagua is trying so hard to be the kingpin of Central. But he has to contend with the Kenyatta family because Kenyatta family, they have a history. Even though they are, walisaliti the Mount Kenya people, they're not really Mau Mau, they're not anything. We know the story, okay? But the perception, okay? The Kenyatta family is what the Odinga family is to the Luos. Not to the same degree, but to a larger extent. Gachagua amekuja tu is riffraff. Okay? And his popularity is based on the fact that people felt betrayed by Ruto. So that's what makes him relevant. Ruto akikufa, Gachagua has no career. But anyway, like I was saying, now things about to get interesting. Because like I'm saying, this is the beginning of the end of kingpin politics. Mambo ya hawa tribal chieftains inaisha kwa sababu what will happen in Nyanza, we shall have influential people in different sectors of Nyanza. Unasikia? Siaya, there will be somebody who will be very influential in Siaya. In Migori, there'll be somebody who is very popular. In Homa Bay, there'll be somebody who will... Unasikia kitu nasema? And no one will be voting in unison. Vile ulikuwa unaona Raila anajaribu kuweka kila mtu pamoja na basket moja. Unasikia? That's what's about to happen. The death of Raila Odinga is the beginning of the end of kingpin politics in Kenya. I'll say it slowly for one more time. The death of Raila Amolo Odinga is the beginning of the end of kingpin politics, parochial political kingpinship politics in Kenya. We are ushering in a new way of doing politics. Raila was the last of the Mohegan. He's out. The man who earned respect and had lots of influence in Kenyan politics. He kind of held it together. Ile asira ya watu walikuwa naipoesha, control opposition. He could pacify what seemed to have ile anger ya Gen Zs and Kenyans in general. In 2007, he did it when he played the alienda tukamweka hapo akakuwa people's president, alafu akapiga kona akashikana na Uhuru akatuambia for the sake of peace, let's do this. 2022 akaingia hapo akaninio akaambiwa bibi yaya akaingia. Gen Z wakakasirika wakasema no, we can't do this. Gen Z wakaenda wakasema tunatoa Ruto. Raila akaingilia hapo. Aliambiwa apoe nje, akae nje, akakataa. So let me save the day. Your man alikuwa anatuambia in one of his latest before he ended ninio. He was telling us we are better off to have a peaceful nation. Hiyo ndio tulikuwa tunatuambia than what was going here chaos ilikuwa nakuja. That was what was selling us. But now that he is gone, hakuna mtu ambaye atakuwa between hapo na akona Unasikia? That's why Ruto is running to the jeshi. Because remember that speech that Raila gave one time in Kibera when he said the military were going to take over power. Unakumbuka hata Oscar Sudi akisema hivyo akiwa huko Eldoret, whatever the case is. Akasema majeshi ilikuwa inaenda kuchukua ninio. That explains why when Ruto got the information that Raila alikufa, probably on Friday or Thursday or Saturday, alienda jana huko Eldoret kukutana na majeshi. Because they understand the only entity that can actually try to save him from the anger that is stemming from the people is the military. Hao ndio wanaweza kumsaidia. Those are the only one. Ndio maana uliona Ruto alienda kavaa nguo za military akaenda huko na alienda Eldoret. Hakuenda ile military ya Coast Province ile ya Laikipia huko ama wapi, alienda huko ya ninio. Alienda huko ya Eldoret huko nyumbani. Pange hao wanajeshi. In fact, I would be surprised if there'll be restructuring in the military. Aeke Kipkeino akwae general. Just in case. Hata naweza kuweka Murkomen as the ninio, hata Recho akwae general. Because now, with the absence of Raila Odinga, the only political figure who wielded much influence to stop an insurrection, he has to turn to the military. That's his last option. So the next maandamano, and you know what? If it was me, I don't know who plans this maandamano. Can you guys plan it on Jamhuri Day? It will be very poetic. Jamhuri Day, the day that Kenya became a republic. Jamhuri Day. Lakini Jamhuri Day hata ni mbali. Jamhuri Day is what, 12th December? I don't know. Ruto. Sakaja. 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 Sakaja anza kujenga nyumba South Africa bwana. Ninasikia uko na nyumba South Africa, so you don't have to worry about it. Sakaja. Sakaja. Sakaja, unanisikia? Hebu leteni Sakaja hapa. Sakaja, you're in deep doo-doo. Sakaja. Sakaja. Sakaja, you're in trouble. Ndio maana nawaambia, what does this mean for Kenyan politics? What does the death of Raila Odinga mean to the Kenyan people, Kenyan politics? Huh? Like the video, ladies and gentlemen. Like the video. Hizo law ambao Ruto ameweka kwa ninio. The privatization law. Kuna ingine ambayo ina deal na inaitwaje? It's an internet ninio. Mtu akipost kitu kwa internet ambayo ina threatens people, whatever, they'll be charged, I don't know, 100,000, whatever the case is. There's some laws that is sneaking around today and yesterday. I'm telling you, it's about to get interesting. Now, it won't start, haitaanza immediately. I think between now, Ruto may announce that it will be 7 days of mourning. Beginning November, not even November. Since by-election on the 27th. Kuna by-election inafanyika 27th. Let me say this. From November, there will be a domino effect from Raila's death. From November, we shall start seeing the domino effect of Raila's death. Domino what? Effect of Raila's death. Hao wakina Wandanyi walikuwa wanajifanya kila kitu baba. Opio Wandayi. Nani? Huyu nani anaitwa aje? From Suna MP. Suna MP anaitwa nani? Hassan Joho. Are you still going to be the CS of Sijui Nini? I'm telling you, things about to get interesting. Grab some popcorns. It's about to get very, very interesting in Kenya. It's unfortunate that Raila is out of the scene, but it also gives way room for growth in our country. Okay? So stay tuned. Stay tuned, because what is happening, angalia. Sahi people are in the streets. I don't know how this thing will happen. Sijui hii mambo ya hii 7 days ya mourning of Raila Odinga. I don't know what it means. It can turn into something else. Like I was saying here, and then ikaangalia news. People are screaming. People in Bondo, Opoda, Farm are screaming, Raila must go. Ruto must go. In Siaya County. Yeah? Ruto. Hey. Sasa tuone kama just imagine this. Picture this. Picture this. Watu wa Mulima waanze kusema Ruto, they've been saying Ruto must go. Anyway, wamekuwa wakisema Ruto must go. Watu wa Nyanza wakianza kusema, historically speaking, let me say this. Historically speaking, let me take this comment out. Historically speaking, Junet, yes, thank you. Historically speaking, every time Luos and let me say Nyanza, Luos and Kikuyus, when they speak in one voice and they speak against you, you're doomed. I'm just saying, just going by tribal stuff that we used to go by. I'm using that in the new. I'm not saying that's how we are going to be moving forward. I think in the future, okay, since we have a young demographic, young people who are thinking differently, they think of Gen Z and others. Kenya is transitioning in its politics, and the death of Raila is symbolic. Okay, watu wanaanza kuacha ile mambo ya mtu wetu wa Murima, mtu wetu wa Nyanza, mtu wetu wa Siju Coast. They are thinking more of, hey, mazee, mimi sina job. What are you doing as the governmental representative of the government? What are you helping to improve my economic situation? Is the government providing a conducive environment for me to start a business? Is it creating jobs? You understand? Those are the questions that these young folks are asking. Ile mambo ya kingpin inaisha. And Raila, it was the representation of that. So, in the future, our vijana, they won't be listening to ati wewe sijui ati wewe ni mtu wetu sijui. They'll be asking, you as a governor, what have you done for us? You as the MP, why did you vote for that privatization bill? Ndio muuze Rivertex na hilo mambo ingine without the approval of the parliament. Those are the questions that the young folks, this coming generation, are going to ask. Gladys Wanga, yes. Karibu sana, good year. Like the video, ladies and gentlemen. Like the video. Like, subscribe. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because I'm going to bring you more and more about Raila Odinga. A lot is going to unravel. A lot. Like I said, I'm worried about this narrative. What wanasema ati Ruto ameua Raila. Because that is enough to... Hey. What? Listen. If a good number of people from Nyanza province, Luo Nyanza, wakianza kubelieve ati Ruto ameua Raila, and a good number of people from the western waanze kubelieve ati Ruto ameua Raila, Central already they don't like you, Ruto. Watu wakikutana waseme ati Ruto must go. Ruto, you're done. That's why I'm saying that narrative is a very dangerous one. Very dangerous. I'm not here to promote it, but that's what I can hear the echoes. People are starting to question the circumstances under which Raila Odinga lost his life. What was the cause? I saw Al Jazeera, I think, said it was a heart attack. I don't know. Like I say, I don't have enough information to say this or that or the other. I don't know. I do not know, so I can't speak on it. But I'm just saying, given what I see, a lot of influencers, Munuru Okanga and others, wanaanza kusema hivyo, and those folks in Luo Nyanza screaming Ruto must go. I don't know. Now see what Gachagua, those are not Gachagua supporters. By no means they are Gachagua supporters. Okay? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, comrades, We are living in interesting times. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. The revolutionaries stick to the script. If anything, if you're looking at it from a revolutionary point of view, Raila has been a stumbling block. Okay? I'm not saying that we should celebrate his death, but I'm saying he has been a stumbling block. Okay? Amekuwa Mary Wilborn, I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you're doing well. Oh my goodness, it's been a while. I hope you've been doing good. Nasema a few more tricks. Awesome. A few more tricks in his hat. Ida will be appointed to work next to Gideon Moi, and Oburu will be elevated to co-DP alongside Kindiki. Brother. You know what? Listen, I don't think appointing Oburu or Ida will help Ruto. Like I say, there's a difference. Ida is not Raila Odinga, and Oburu is not Raila Odinga. They don't have that influence. It will not mean anything. I mean, Raila supporters are not going to be like, oh, we like Ida because she's Raila's wife, so we'll follow him with the same kind of video. No, I don't think it will work that. But it's funny though that your comment is funny. I mean, if Ruto does that, that will be a clear indication that he's desperate, very desperate. And I don't think that's the case. But yeah, but that's good comment. Oburu anaweza kuwa chief of staff. Ai, you guys bana. Ai, simutulie bana. Hata Raila hata hajarudi Kenya, nyinyi bodi haijaletwa Kenya, nyinyi mshaanza mambo yenu. But anyway, it's been 1 hour and 17 minutes. Mary Wilborn, I haven't seen you for a while. Goody, I haven't seen you guys for a while. But anyway, rest in peace, Raila Odinga, Amolo Odinga. Thank you for your contribution in politics, Kenyan politics. You finished your journey. I mean, I don't know if you walikufanyia ile kitu kakufa or whatever the case is, but hey, listen. On to the next realm. I don't know if you made it to heaven or you made it to hell. I don't know. That's none of my business. That's between you and God. On earth, I'll just say, you finished your journey, all right? I wasn't your biggest fan, but all in all, much condolences to the Odinga family, friends, people who actually care about him. Hope you find strength, and ni life, okay? Ni life. Everyone dies. Politically, I'm not a fan, but these things happen. It's nature. Mungu alisema watu watakufa. So, for those of you who are on the other side, who are, hey, Raila amekufa, don't do that. It doesn't make sense. It's silly, but I would tell you what to do, how you feel. Okay? Mary Wilborn asema, the day he dragged Gideon to State House is the day he knew Mzee will not be returning alive. Ooh, okay. Oh, okay. I don't know. But one thing I can agree with you is that Ruto knew Raila alikufa leo or jana or whatever the case is. Raila died a few days ago. Okay? Especially, in fact, what I suspect, unakumbuka ile siku ODM, I think, gave nini ati Raila is doing well, is strong. I think that's the day that he died. I don't know. But yeah. Rest in peace, Raila Odinga. And much condolences to your family and your friends and relatives and all that stuff. It will be interesting to see what happens after this. We are going to have very interesting times coming up now that we don't have the Wangas and every settlement, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Mary Wilborn. I haven't seen you for a while. Thank you so much for being here. Good year. Nice seeing you. Okinyo. Shaima Hussein, nice seeing you guys. It's been a while. I wish I was in the studio right now. I would have gone much longer, but hey, I have tons of things to do today. I even overstayed. I'm even late for where I'm supposed to be, uh, yeah, he died Kitambo. They were just creating momentum. I guess, yeah, possibility. So anyway, guys, do me a favor: subscribe, share, like, comment, and do all the good stuff. Like I said, this channel I talk about politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. If you like that kind of content, subscribe, like, share, comment, and if you're watching me on X, follow me on X, and you can even go to YouTube, type in my name, Kenya Revolutionary, and you can follow me. Like the video, subscribe, share, comment, and all that good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys later. Peace and blessings, and be safe out there. Thank you. I'm out.